Hello everyone, I'm the Him, the Humor Game Channel. Welcome to Equestria War. We have played this mod several times on the channel, and one of those times was as the Griffonian Republic. And yes, we are again playing as them, because I can't remember exactly how that playthrough ended, but I don't think I really completed it to the fullest of its potential. And I think the tree's been changed since then as well, so we're back at it again. Now, actually it has been a while since I played a mod in general. But it is a pretty good mod. I know not everyone's a fan of the setting, but it is a good mod. You have to give it that. There's a lot of love and attention we put into this. Generals run rampant in the countryside, and our loyal commanders are powerless to stop them. It seems the Republican dream may soon come to an end if we are not careful in rooting out this cancer from our nation. Fantastic. Support the President Marshal. We will be supporting the Marshal once again. We do have 9 civies. Let's go ahead and build 5 more. That brings up to 14. Actually, let's just use the majority of our building slots for the time being for them. Let's go ahead and actually get the upgraded infantry equipment. Let's get basic machine tools and construction 1. So we don't start off with a lot of factories, but it will suffice. Get some Griff trucks in. Let's get some fighters as well. We'll get some convoys and submarines. A good start there. So 26 divisions is a pretty good start for our army. I'm not going to bother putting divisions on there. Let's just kind of focus on, I think securing the north is probably going to be where we strike first. So the unruly military. The unruly military has been a major problem in the Republic ever since the Revolution. Suntail's troops have caused thousands of casualties in their bloodthirsty attempts to rid the countryside of bandits, and Rosewing has been accused of looting Republic towns and villages for supplies for his army. This behaviour is unacceptable and must be stopped. However, there are 2 solutions to such a thing. Schneebel Sunglider, a political idealist and one of the Kemerskai's. Kemersky. I'm just going to call him Alexander because it's easier to say. Close advisor says that the military should be rebuilt and the rebellious commanders sacked, so the military will be the same standard of Griffonian army. Heinrich Kingfeather, ever the pragmatist, has dismissed this, claiming that the best course of action is swiftest, merely placating the generals and going on with a republic regime like clockwork. I feel like we should indeed reform the military. It is the right way to go. We are going to go for the civilian government. We're not going to go with martial law. As you can see, we have a pretty big focus tree to get through, so this is going to be good. So yeah, let's reform the military. So we will reform the military, however this may anger the warlords. Better than having to grant large concessions to them. So yes, let's anger the warlords. The military has held on to too much power, local power, for long enough. No more. An effort to reform and rehabilitate our military staff will hopefully stop these practices and prevent further escalation. Borrow from Flowena and trade with Skyfall. I'm not interested in either of those right now. I'm not interested in you. I'm not interested in you. The history of the Republican struggle. So in 978, what's this? The Coldstream Summit. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're going to be heading towards Harmony, which is interesting. Building and military academy, which grants construction speed -20. Oh. So we will have to get through all of this, but... Oh, we get some new generals. It actually tells us our stats. Nice! Let's go ahead and get down this quick side first. So ensuring popular legitimacy. Many in the High Command see your attempt to reform as a form of betrayal against our old guard. We must deal with these conspiracy theorists at once, else they might spread distrust among our troops. And let's have a wee look at these. So, Grover V's government was in political turmoil when rumours arose that the reforms of Governor HOI4 would be repealed, along with the fact that the Emperor in Griffenheim was young and essentially a puppet of the nobility. Cracks began to appear in the Empire's framework, the nobility spent lavishly and began to gain more and more wealth and power, while the people suffered and the army began to mistrust the Emperor, especially a clique led by Kemerskai, Suntail and Rosewing, among many other officers. One fateful day in February 978, peasants and workers seized the streets of Griffenheim, battling with Griff guards and storming houses and prisons. Okay, we'll continue reading that in a second. President Marshall is an excellent speaker. He will tour our nation to rekindle the Republican spirit of our people, especially the commoners in the north, who have been swayed by vicious generals who care little for the plight of the people and must be reminded of the Republican cause. So stability and support, war support for that. Every prisoner in this imperial cells was let out, and the people soon began to march upon the imperial palace. Alexander and many other imperial officers who had participated... Oh, and it's gone. Okay, we can see the rest. Participated in the army-wide mutiny, along with hundreds and hundreds of commoners, stood at the gates of the seat of the imperial power, and their government in pure decentralized chaos, a wave of commoners rushed to the palace, trampling antique carpets, throwing artifacts to the ground, breaking the stained glass windows of the Arcanite. However, none of these commoners could find Grove V, despite Camarascai's best efforts to look for him. According to the propaganda efforts, he was whisked away by Eros at the last minute. However, the commoners and military did find the entire Regency Council, save for Eros and the Emperor, of course. Some were put on mock trial, which always resulted in their executions. Others were simply brutally mauled in the streets. Others attempted to fight their way through the commoners. The Regency Council lost their power in the capital, and their deaths were cheered by thousands of Griffons in the crowds. And people soon rallied behind the army mutineers and the National Republican Party, who formed the Griffonian Republic. Okay. Remove the warlords. The time has come to deal with the most senior members of the Old Guard. These corrupt, disloyal Griffons will be removed from their posts so that they can no longer threaten a Republican cloudbury. Changing popular supremacy -5, political bomb -50, gain stability of 2.5. Commanders Klaus Rosewig and Reinhard Suntail will be removed from their posts, but will not be fully pacified. Oof, okay. Wow, the Republic did not stand for very long. After Griffon was taken, Imperial forces were forced to flee into strongholds such as Bronze Hill and Strawberry Duchy, where the Eagle Claw family sheltered both the Archon and the Emperor. Alexander organized his forces for a quick takeover of the Empire proper, Duchy of Griffenheim. Alexander himself would take Inter-River at the Griff King River, where the Baron of Venin, his father, still reigned. Reinhard Suntail, Schnabel Sunglider, and Anders von Bruma, a commander from Yale, who had quickly joined the Republic, would march towards the city of Krona. Klaus Rosewing was entrusted in encircling Imperial forces in Kingston and the east. Alexander's forces met the army of the Count of Inter-River, Honus Hardwheeler, at the Griff King River. General Alexander had his first chance to prove his tactics as new Marshal of the Republican Provisional President. The victory was decisive, and Count Jonas's forces were beaten back to the north. After further confrontation, the Republican forces eventually fled into Bronze Hill and left fighting entirely. The Alexander forces were able to utilize the river to their advantage, and Count Jonas appears to teach his latest troops across the river. Why would you do that when they were gunned down by Republican cannons and artillery, forced to retreat, only killing a small amount of Republican troops? Hardwheeler would eventually have been revealed to raving drunk during the battle, believing that Republicans were a mass of peasants and would never resort to real tactics. In an uncharacteristic rage, the Archon exiled him from the Empire, and Count Jonas is believed to have drank himself to death in Zebrica, believing the Republican victory was certain and that he had failed his child Emperor. Okay. I'm very interested in reading the rest of these, but we'll drip them in every now and then because there's a lot of reading, and I do still want to actually get through a decent portion of this tree before the end of the episode. So we can't actually touch any of the other tree right now. We'll just focus on getting to loyalty. Loyalty to the present, loyalty to the revolution. I feel like we're going to go for loyalty of the revolution. But anyways, Republican Military Academy. Our first step towards rehabilitation of our military staff is the construction of our own military academy. It will require time, effort, and resources, but the prospects are promising. So the Cloudberry Military Academy is a national spirit we gain. Land Doctrine Research Speed plus 10, Army Experience gain plus 0.01 daily. When selected, the following idea will be added. Build a Military Academy, which grants construction speed minus 20. This idea will be removed when the focus is completed. Okay, so we get that right now. That's quite nice. Okay. So while that's ongoing, the Emperor has died. The Regency Council is back in charge. And Grover the 6th. Rosewing and Suntail plot to oppose Alexander. Reinhard Suntail, a charismatic and vicious veteran who has been training his forces in the countryside, engaging in banditry, along with Klaus Rosewing, one of Camarascai's major officers in the revolution, who had been keen to usurp power ever since Alexander's revolution failed, and begun to plot against our government. It is unknown what their plans are, but the government agents think they oppose the reforms of the military and are plotting a coup to prevent any check on their banditry and scandalous military practices. Rosewing has been alleged to be part of the Griffonian National Revolutionary Front, an underground nationalist group that opposes both democracy and monarchy, believing a strong, powerful leader can guide a republic to glory. If we want to encourage this behaviour, maybe we should do nothing. Send a military and hold back their plans. Yep, let's do it. We're not having them take power. So let's have a week look at April 978 campaign in Inter-River. When Alexander moved into the northern Inter-River, something surprising had already occurred. The citizens of the city of unrest, capital of the region, had just organised a peasant revolt following their count's defeat at the Battle of Griffking and subsequent exile. His brother and heir was driven back to Diamond Mountain to serve the Archon, and the peasants of the Inter-River had officially won their freedom. This new state, the Peasants' Republic of Inter-River, was almost socialist in nature, distributing wealth and power among the people and organising themselves into communes. While Alexander originally planned to threaten the rebels, political rival Asperus Sickleclaw convinced him to meet with the peasants of the favourable terms instead. In talks, it was decided that Inter-River would be given substantial autonomy if they declared full loyalty to the Republic, which they did. The revolution seemed unstoppable. Okay, but what happened to the Republic? What happened? So May to August of 978, April of 978, attack on Vanin. Alexander's forces in Inter-River moved forward, aided by independent peasant militias loyal to the Peasants' Republic of Inter-River. There they found the armies of Alexander's father, the aging Baron of Vanin, Aldus Kimraskai. Aldus's forces originally had the upper claw in the Battle of Vanin, pushing back his son's forces. Okay, we're going to have to be really... Alexander, however, utilised defensive tactics and artillery barrages, which he became famous for, and eviscerated his father's forces while in defence. Thousands of Griffons died in the attack on Alexander's fallback line, and when Alexander's forces counterattacked, the Baron's numerical superior force was driven back in the city itself. Aldus's forces surrendered, and he was taken prisoner by his son, along with his foremost officers. Troops were given the option to join the Republic. Those who refused were simply killed. He was taken to the city square of Vanin, where he had once announced the Emperor's decrees and execution of his own. Now the tides had turned, and Aldus was sentenced to death for the charges of treason against people and peasants of Griffonia. The Baron of Vanin, betrayed by his own son, was enraged and seethed at Alexander for his last words before he was executed by his child's headsman. The Republic was now in control of all of Inter-River, and with Suntail and Rosewing's campaigns in the east, south, and north succeeding, it seemed as if the Republic was about to secure the entire Griffenheim area in its own right, with many forces already moving into Katerine and Angriver in the south, where Republican support was high. A chilling moment. So it appears that the revolution was going very well for the Republic to begin with. But, yeah, that clearly did not go to plan. Right, the Republican Military Academy has been created, so let's do foreign instructors. We are not the only ones in Griffonia who try to stand against monarchy and dictatorship. By inviting foreign military instructors and experts, we can learn much about how to build a modern army. Army experience plus 20 and 100% research bonus for the land doctrine. So I should probably point out that we do actually have some national spirits that are currently affected us a decent wee amount. We have Republican Struggle, which is actually a pretty good one. It gives us bonus attack and defense against the Griffonian Empire. Oh, Civil War and Longsword. We also get division attack and defense on core territory, war support plus 10, and 5% recruitable population. We'll look at the rest in a second. Reports are coming of a strange sighting from Lake Graston near the city of Squark. Apparently, a group of local youths were having a party at the edge of the lake when they discovered the body of a diamond dog, mauled and torn by claws, daggers, and bullets. Witnesses identified him as Cadworth, a diamond dog street magician and performance artist, part of the inclusive community of Northern Diamond Dogs. When they reported to the Squark police, a citywide investigation was launched, eventually finding the culprits, a gang of Griffons associated with the Society Against Monarchist Tyranny, who had murdered him due to his crypto-monarchism and a desire to restore Grover VI to the throne of Cloudberry. The Society's Griffons found themselves in prison, with lawyer and politician Heinrich Kingfeather demanding they be given harsh sentences for the lynching of the dog. Heinrich Krieger, an industrialist and militarist minister, however, believed that the attacks were somewhat justified as a scourge of monarchism must not be allowed in our just society. The killing of Cadworth has sparked mass media attention, and while most politicians have officially condemned it, the killing still has damaged anti-monarchist elements in the nation. The streets simply aren't safe anymore. That's not good. So yes, back to the national switch, we have the language issue, which is bringing down our daily political power gain by 0.05, division organisation down by minus 0.85, recruit population by minus 0.12, minus 12, and stability by minus 7.5. So not great. Banditry, Not great. Resource gain efficiency minus 30, consumer goods plus 10, stability minus 10, and infrastructure construction speed minus 20. So not good. The unruly army is meaning we cannot train units to span use or edit unit templates. The political power gains minus 15%, division organization minus 30%, recruit population minus 15, supply consumption plus 20%, and war support minus 50. So again, not great. These three are just awful. The risk of famine doesn't really do anything, but it's terrible as well. And Collaborative Military Academy is actually a good one. Anyways, new Republican officers. So it's time to get Reinhard, Monchel, Barth, Seivert, and Eric Schorner to join us. 10,000 pony power, command power plus 20. The first graduates of our academy are now ready to take up their posts. No longer will the old guard dominate our staff. A new generation shall take up the torch. Good, so... Oh, we have Alexander Kimmersky Jr. We have his son. Okay, so... Summer Sun Celebration. It looks like we've got rid of the troublesome generals. But anyways, Alexander is going to take the reins. Equestria annexes the Buffalo Chieftain. Oh. Well, that's a shame. Do you have a focus tree yet? The United Dragons. No, they don't. Wonder when they'll get one. We'll probably end up losing this piece of land. Equestria does have a claim on it, so they probably will take it at some point. So, generals. Our generals aren't too bad. Of course, the old guards. You're actually not bad, Jonas. Hafslund. White Feather's not bad either. He's just a media personality. He's just an old guard. They're actually okay. The defense on Otto is pretty decent. He could be very useful for the defense against the Empire. Of course, the Reichspakt is about to collapse at some point. So that'll be interesting once that happens. We'll see what happens. A new chain of command. So with new generals in the same old military bureaucracy and the chain of command, we run the risk of turning our new blood into corrupt generals yet again. This won't be allowed to happen, and a reform is desperately needed. So gains national spirit, reform chain of command, which grants division organization plus 5 and maximum command power increase by 15. Fantastic. And let's have a wee look at the new boys. Here's Reinhard, Barth, and Eric. Cautious, the Grand Galloping Gala, reckless. But you, Reinhard, is actually pretty decent. Because you've got a brilliant strategist, so you can definitely come into play. And then also Otto. They can be our two generals for the time being. The parishes of Sycamion. Where are you? Concordant of Southern Nations. Ah! Okay. Interesting. So what other factions we got currently kicking about? Let's do Concentration 1. We have the Carthinian Pact. Okay, King Garibaldi is still here now. The United Ponies Alliance, of course. We have the Changeling Hegemony, the River Coalition, the Crown of Aquileia, and the Reichspakt. All of this will eventually be ours. But let's have a wee look at the first presidential election. Wow, that's a lot of reading. We'll leave that till next episode. We'll leave some more reading till that, and then. Alright, upgraded infantry equipment. Let's go ahead and do support weapons 1. I'll need to remember that we do have specific tech for the Griffons, because we do have knights, society and economy stuff, and military stuff, and air and navy stuff that's all unique to the Griffons. So, yeah. Necessary army reforms. Soldiers are there to protect us all, and as such we must ensure only those who are up for the task are allowed to join the ranks. A higher level of military standards will ensure that our ranks are filled with able-bodied Griffons, even though there are less of them overall. That's a good thing to do. So gains national spirit, reform military, which grants army experience gain is 7.5%, cripple population factor -5, and max planning +10. Good. So once this is done, we can then do a new army. The Principality of Lushi has declared one the Griffonian Liberation Army. Where are all these wars kicking off? Griffonian Liberation Army. There we go. So you have came in. Prince Elias Whitecrest. You have came in. Partners in Broadfield. They're going to claim some land. White Kissau Unity. Royal marriage. Okay. The GRS Imperative. One of the newest destroyer models has yesterday gone missing after failing to report while on manoeuvres. After realising the destroyer was lost, our naval group was scrambled to search for the vessel. After a full 12 hours of fruitless searching, the destroyer appeared again, gliding out of the thick fog. It was first thought the report was a fake, as the position of the destroyer was well out of the area it could have possibly travelled in that time. Yet there it was. Even stranger, it was discovered afterwards that the destroyer was completely unmanned on arrival. The entire crew has been reported missing, and the ship has been quarantined for further scientific and magical analysis. It's a ghost ship, you see. That's kind of like, I can't remember what the ship was called, but you know that game that was made? Something on Medan. Oh, soldiers desert to Rosewing and Suntail's divisions. Soldiers refusing orders from Marshal Alexander and even began to desert to divisions led by warlords Klaus Rosewing and Reinhard Suntail. Many are drawn in by promises of looting and banditry and are fed up with the consistent low pay for the chaotic government in Cloudberry. This could easily prove problematic for a government, as if Rosewing and Suntail ever revolt against the government, they will have the power of many once loyal troops on their side. Send in loyal troops to take care of the traitors. So we get desertions for 50. Okay, do you know what? We need to do that. Ah, yes. The Orang Medan. The SS Orang Medan was a supposed ghost ship, which according to various sources became a shipwreck in the Dutch East Indies. Waters or elsewhere after its entire crew had died under suspicious circumstances, either in 1940, 1947 or 1948, depending on the newspaper source. There we go. That's the ship. That's kind of what that reminded me of there. But anyways, back to this. The new army. We have succeeded in our great campaign of reform. We stand triumphant over our domestic crisis. There are still many problems and things to deal with on the horizon, but the Republic will prevail always. So replace unruly army with reformed military. Effective change. Political power gain plus 15%. Army experience gain plus 7.5. Division organization plus 30. Recruitable population factor plus 10. Supply consumption minus 20. War support plus 50. Max planning plus 10. It's a good one. But what does that really do for us? So it cancels out the political power gain. The division organization is completely gone as well. We just have minus 5 recruit population. Supply consumption's gone. And war support's gone as well. So we get max planning, army experience gain. I think that's it. That's what we get from the new army. But we get rid of all those debuffs. So it is very handy. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump over to engineering and grab the electronic mechanical engineering. It's about time we've done that. Oh, I've just noticed. Minus 46. Broad illiteracy is killing us right now. Moderate poverty is not really helping either. Outdated industrial sector is not helping either. Substantial science base at minus 30. Oh, it is hella bad. Hella bad. We will deal with that at some point. So the Reichspakt is still here, but it's the non-aligned that currently rule. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens there. And anyways, a new army. And now we'll do loyalty to the revolution. The fire of revolution burns inside every Griffon, and our dreams of a republic fills their minds. A single Griffon's mind can change, but our dream will not. For the Republic. A modern army, which gives us 5 organization, 5 war support, and reinforced rate of 7. Changing popularity of harmony plus 5. So yeah, we're going to probably switch over to the central wing. So yeah, that's what that's doing to us now. The reformed military. Watertown's joined Farbrook. Okay. The Hillfolk League. That's what's formed there. Okay, safe from within. Oh, they have trees. I love the trees in this. Like, they're so big and there's just so much you can do. I did enjoy playing as Arcturian Order. I don't know if they've got anything changed. Oh, yes, because they had the Wendigos. The Winter Moon Celebration. The bloody Wendigos. That was fun. That was fun. The Dread League. Oh, yes, we also got Rosa here to change her ways. which was interesting. So, yeah, a civilian government, or we could bolster the left. Yeah, how about a no to that? Our dream of a republic must not be swept under the table. A legitimate working government is the only way. A government of the people. Hell yeah. Is there any other things we can actually do in here? Hold speech. Eulogy for Grover. Grover V was the emperor of all Griffonians, king of the Heartlands, duke of Griffonheim, and the griffin that foiled the revolution of 978. Is dead at the young year of 47. I wish I could shed a tear, my brothers, but the truth is Grover V has done nothing for the Heartlands but drive it into doom and despair. I'm sure many of you would agree that Grover V has done almost nothing right. He has let Katerine burn, strengthened the powers of the Archon, centralising religious control of the capital and ending any hope of a secular Griffonia. He has spit in the face of every constitutional reform that he has ever been offered, even with the threat of a second Griffonian revolution on his doorstep. He has let loose the Eastern Marches to continue their genocidal crusades on the ponies, and lost the Duchy of Griffonstone to a weak regency council under a griffin so old he is called Grandpa. He didn't even die right. He left the Empire in such a chaos I'm almost inclined to cheer at his death. His son is not even 6 years old. It is likely the Regency Council of nobles, oligarchic and corrupt, will rule in his stead. As much as it pains me to say it, this is a victory for the Republic. Godly justice has been enacted upon the middle-aged Emperor, and as he dies and the child Emperor takes over, the Republicans and brave patriots from all over the Heartlands will rebel against his feudal lords. From Bloom in Angriver, the little Chimera Sky, to Die, Katerine, and Rumal, the people of Griffonia are mobilizing. I am sure that when the struggle ends and we are writing the history books, our people will write of the death of the Emperor and how it changed Griffonia forever. Nice, actually gives us good stuff. And let's hold the speech, the democratic transition Skyfall. Skyfall is a place of contradictions indeed. There are few vices that do not flow through the streets, and yet there you can find the most exemplary of Griffons in their competitive spirit and ambitious dreaming. They trade with tyrants and heroes alike, and every time you feel as though you should condemn them, they surprise you indeed. There are few who are not familiar, at least in passing, with its old chancellor, Chrislane Crookard. Okay. And there are even fewer who speak kindly of such a griff, without making liars of themselves. He has sat comfortably in Skyfall for many years, profiteering from the chaotic state of Griffonia, and yet Skyfall amazes again, as his very niece replaces him. There are many who would claim that Skyfall has been twisted into a simple oligarchy, yet I ask those people to study the achievements of Chancellor Gildedwing and be amazed. Many would have claimed that the Slodge Gishlane armed revolution should have been necessary, and yet Genevieve achieved it politically and painlessly. The oligarchs who once held sway there lie broken around her, and the people stay elevated. The Republican dream still burns bright in the Hairsland, and yet Skyfall, as always, did things in its own way. Okay, fantastic. So we've read them now. Good. We can trade with Skyfall. Fantastic. So one thing I'm interested in seeing is the Republican Pact is still a thing here. We can get Skyfall to join us. Reconciliation with the North. No, we're going to retake the North. That's what's going to happen. Oh, defend the realm. Defend the dream. Sorry, I'm reading that wrong again. Okay, anyways, guys, I'm going to leave that episode there. So we have got the civilian government. We just need to appoint civilian ministers. Then establish a Sunglider cabinet. Or maintain the King Feather. We'll have a wee look at the bonuses and see what it does by going down either route. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall be back very soon for another episode. So until then, take care. Cheer bye. The now.